So we are making small progress, but we are making small progress in each and every front. In Gaza, we are moving slowly for reason to make sure that the soldiers are being protected as they move forward one house from one tunnel and from one hole to another, making sure they have enough firepower around them and to support them when they are moving. In each step, they're also gathering a lot of intelligence for the next step. So there's some time taken to analyze the next steps, what intelligence can be used in that regard. Um, in the northern front, as we saw last week, there are no major changes there, back and forth, but within the frame of not escalating further than the border clashes and there, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not moving any further south from the Hezbollah point of view and north from our point of view. Um, more clashes in the West Bank, but still, hopefully, we'll be able to contain them. Today, there was a heavy fighting in the city of Jenin, so we'll see how this will evolve. Overall, beside moving forward in Gaza slowly, the other fronts are kind of contained on the same level. Internally, the government, you remember last week I told you that the government is starting to take more responsibilities, and it is also slowly, but it is happening. We see more and more government officers starting to be more in charge of what is happening. It's very important, mainly for the people who were evacuated from Gaza front, those who lost their homes. A long-term solution or getting them back to their home will require a long haul. Take an interim place for them, to find an interim place for them, and then to rebuild their communities, and then for them to go back. It's something that only government can do.
Mm-hmm.
Civil society can support them, and still, it's not that the civil society, the volunteering is still there very much. Uh, Civil volunteering cannot build communities, interim communities, and rebuild housing. So the
All right.
government is moving. Government is also moving, looking at the overall economy, how to support the overall economy, enabling to eventually regenerate itself. And so there is a small positive progress there as well. And the civil society, the strength is still there, still volunteering. Many
Good.
people still going. Farming is what we can do. We cannot say in the case of construction, real estate, you have to be more skilled. And farming, farming is easy to do, so it's still done in big numbers. Not only farming, but also a lot of support of the people who lost their home, evacuated, and a lot of support to the soldiers who are in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through the soldiers in the front, and also there are more organizations now realizing there are families who stay back home where their loved ones are being called to the front, and they need support as well. Yeah. So in that regard, the civil society is still very strong, very supportive of all of those fronts that can be supported. People who evacuated,
Yes.
soldiers, families of the soldiers, and farming. We are very much over all of those fronts.
That that's encouraging. Well, I know when I talked, especially with you before, you were talking about the needs of the farmers and just everyone, every place else in society where people have been called to the front. And I wanted you to know I've been making contacts through Christian organizations that I'm aware of. Of course, I don't have a very large group around myself, but I know others who do. And I was suggesting that they try to put out a call around the world for help, both skilled and unskilled. Like you say, the farmers. Anybody can go get the eggs from the chickens and,
Tomato.
you know, yeah, clean up the stalls. But and so I have been putting out communication saying, hey, you guys have enough strength to reach out to the world and reach out to governments and see if we can get real help in for people in Israel. And the day I did it, Rabbi Mordecai Weiss sent me an article about the 10 cowboys that showed up from America to come and help with the ranching. And I thought, okay, well, it's not too crazy to really start asking people to come in and help. And I just feel like, it's got to, if enough of that would happen, it must encourage people to feel like there really is a world behind you. Not everybody's not stepping back going, oh no, Israel's in trouble or at war, we can't help. No, we can help more than financially. We can help. And I hope everybody who's listening to this interview is going to get the encouragement and get the word out that there's a lot that can be done. And I know it's a war and I know it's dangerous, but there's also places that aren't as dangerous where help can still, really be used by the society, because, like you say, we don't want to see the economy of Israel tank in this whole process. So whatever we can do, I mean, people can stock grocery shelves, and things that are simple that would really be a help right now. So I appreciate you talking about this side of things and people hearing that, because I think it creates a burden and an enlightenment that there really is something that people can do just beyond fundraising and prayer.
Definitely, there are farming in all over Israel is being got got the blow, not just around the Gaza Strip where they lost um, many of their employees. A lot of the people who work in agriculture in Israel are foreign employees, and they went back to their homes uh, all over the country. There are very safe places, I would say, in the center of the country that need people to help them. So there are many places,
Yes.
much safer places than just the Gaza Strip area to what we call the Gaza envelope to help and support in farming and in many ways. And again, in families who are evacuated, many initiatives that can be taken to support the country to reignite the post-war life and economy.
Yes. Good. Well, we will keep hoping that this gets out and that people really rally to the need and the call to come and help Israel from a physical standpoint. So I have a lot of faith for that to happen. And you were the one that conveyed the need, especially to me, though I've heard it from several others. But I really want to see that need met during this time going forward. I wanted to ask you too, going back to the movement in Gaza, the military. It does seem like, especially in things I was reading yesterday, there really is a very unique carefulness that's taking place of moving slowly, getting information, knowing what they're going to face. I think that my understanding is there's been about 30 soldiers lost at this time, which is tragic, but that's a very low number for this type of an engagement. And I was encouraged with the use of intelligence and technology and the approach that the Army is taking to move slowly and to really save and preserve life on both sides um, of the conflict. So, is there anything that you're aware of that's being done as they move forward, especially to deal with the elimination of the tunnel network that's there?
So moving slowly, but using not just new technologies, but very innovative new methods of moving forward. Yeah, I think this is one of the first battles, the synchronization of forces, mostly the front combat in their tanks, in the armored vehicle, the combat engineering, the infantry, with the artillery support. In some cases, very, very accurate artillery, and with the Air Force, both combat choppers and jet fighter. Very, very close. We call it circles. The sergeant in the front can speak with the F-16 pilot and direct him to where he needs in a matter of seconds, minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
those methods are, which were exercised in the last few years, are now being deployed. And again, yeah, with the people that we lost, and every soldier, it's a family, it's parents, it's tragic. A relatively very low number because of this full power, synchronized power that is moving with them. And in some cases, also the Navy is involved, where the forces are going along the seashore of Gaza. They are also being synchronized and getting a lot of support from the Navy. Um, so the language, I'm speaking the military language, where they all
Mm-hmm.
communicating with one another. Usually, Air Force have their own language, and infantry are different from the armored corps, and they learn how to create a mutual language of closing in into target very quickly, very efficiently, understanding each other, and it's working. So this is the first thing that we see, and which is unique. It's new. It it's always been there, but it's getting to a small circle of sometimes minutes, seconds to get into the target from all those front artillery, armor, Air Force, and Navy when they need. In case of the tunnels, using a lot of intelligence that they are getting to see how the network is being built. Um, as far as we understand, they are not going in to the tunnels, but they're
Mm-hmm.
using technologies, either different type of robots to go in and to see what is happening inside, and then trying to destroy, to seal, and to eliminate this access to tunnels where they see them, using different technologies to do this, either sealing, destroying, but there are very limited number of soldiers who are actually going in into, and a very small number that are actually maybe going into those tunnels. Once you go into the tunnel, you're losing. If you're coming with a very big fire rate power and you go into tunnel, it's one
Mm-hmm.
against one. You're losing all this advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
So if you eliminate this threat by destroying it, not going in, not enabling to be used, you can win the tunnels.
Yes. It just seems like such an important part of not only the battle as it exists now, but going forward with securing Gaza and eliminating the threat against Israel on an ongoing basis. Those tunnels have to be somehow permanently eliminated, which seems like it would be very difficult to do without collapsing the structures and the buildings that exist above.
Mhm. Yes, one consideration we always have to take into account as of now is that there always in some of the tunnels there might be some of the hostages. So this is why they are
Yes.
going very slowly, moving when they're getting into a tunnel. They are moving very slowly to make sure no one is there. Uh,
Right.
once once we get to the hostages, I think a more aggressive methods will be able to be used against this, destroying the tunnel. But as of now,
Okay.
hostages is always on every soldier mind. We have to find a way to
Yes.
get them and to bring as many
Yes.
safe as we
Hmm. Yes, I think there's a lot of real focus in prayer and here in the churches. I know the churches are rallying together during this time to put together weekends of prayer
can.
and on a global basis. And a lot of the focus is for the safety of the hostages as well as the safety of these soldiers on the front line. And it's on everyone's heart to see that those lives be recovered in this process. And as you're saying, once that is taken care of, then I'm sure the ability to deal with the tunnel system is going to be enforced. And I think dealing with that once and for all, I think that's been a constant source of allowing Hamas to function has been through that tunnel network that they have. So we're looking forward to the total elimination of the tunnels as well as Hamas.
Yeah, it's probably will be together.
Yes.
Yeah. Overall, I think one of the main goal now, don't know if it will be the end of the war, is to get to the headquarters of the Hamas in the Shifa hospital or below the Shifa hospital. Uh, Troops are not that far from there. And once they are getting very close, it will be again, there will be a new challenge how to work and how to enable evacuation of the people who are in the hospital and not Hamas, the injured, the sick people in the hospital, how to enable their evacuation in order to go in and to get to the headquarters of the Hamas bunkers.
Yes. That's going to be, uh,
Challenge.
very challenging. But one thing I trust is the ability of the uh, Israeli intelligence and uh, creativity to find answers to be able to deal with this problem. And again, I think the advantage of moving slowly is that there's being time. And I'm sure there's a lot being done to prepare for this beyond what any of us know about sitting here. So I know they're going to be very successful in this process. And there's no question, as many years as I've been involved with Israel, the primary concern about all Israelis and especially the military is the saving of lives, the preserving of life, whether it's Israelis or Palestinians or foreign nationals that are there. That's always the first and key interest in how they're moving and the decisions they're making. And we trust that, and they're going to be very successful, I'm sure, in doing the best anyone could possibly do to preserve the life of all involved.
Yeah. And in the last 2 3 days, we protecting Palestinians who until now the Hamas didn't enable them to go down to the southern part of the Gaza Strip um, to to make their way to a safe place. So we are
Yes.
literally doing it. I don't know if you saw some of those footages that Israeli tanks are actually enabling Gazans to move from the Gaza City area down south of the strip, which they could not do because the Hamas held them and didn't let them go south. So we'll find
Yes.
a way doing it.
Find a way. And as I understand it, right now there's being a few hours of ceasefire in order to continue that process of enabling the civilians to move out of harm's way. So again, we uh,
Yeah, it's a ceasefire in
go ahead.
certain areas. In places where we feel we
Hmm.
have to, civilians are not there and we have to continue push. We are pushing in the area where we enable civilians to go. There is a ceasefire. We letting the people know in many ways. Between those hours, you can go safely and do it. Not just you can, but please do it
Yes.
to protect yourself.
Is there any process being made? Because I understood they were attempting during these hours of ceasefire in these areas to also have some kind of release of hostages. Is there any news on that?
I think 2, 3 hours ago, the Hamas released a footage of two hostages. There's a lot of, I would do it, I would say this way. What we hear in the news, a lot of it is psychological warfare used by the
Mm-hmm.
Hamas, knowing this is a very, very important issue for Israelis. As you said, we appreciate, we respect, we adore life. And, we want them back. The Hamas know that, and there is a lot of psychological warfare going on from their side on trying to manipulate the Israeli mood, and from there to manipulate decision maker. I think decision makers in Israel right now are aware of all of this and manage to detach themselves from part. You can't do it all of it, but at least in part from the psychological part of it and trying to see what is reality there and what is can be achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we don't hear a lot of we hear a lot of again in the media coming mostly from the U.S., coming from Qatar, coming from Egypt. We don't see any kind of expectation from the Israeli leadership side. So we are very
Okay.
cautious on that.
Good to know. Well, it's I agree with you that there's a lot of psychological warfare. There's a lot of disinformation that is trying to stir public opinion even against Israel, and those are the types of things that we don't want moving forward. So, anyway, we will just continue to pray for hostage release, and it's one of the areas where I am, looking for divine intervention
Yes,
that we've seen so many times in the scriptures, and we can see it again today for all of these people who are being held.
we pray as well.
I wanted to thank you, Mickey, for this time, and I know we didn't start this with an introduction, but we've been talking to Mickey Medzini, the son of Dr. Medzini, and I've been looking forward to a time with him. We were working out some technical issues to hopefully improve our recordings, but I just want everyone to know what a great source of information. He is former military and is very tied into what is going on there in Israel, and we appreciate his time and his efforts. And again, I ask everyone to listen carefully to these words and continue in your prayer, continue in your donations to help with Israel, whether it's through Hargrave Ministries or through some other method. Please be a part of what is going on. And again, every chance you get, do what you can to combat the misinformation that's in the media, especially here in the United States. So educate yourself about the history of Gaza and Palestine, as it's called by the Palestinians, and realize that Israel has been given this land both in ancient history and in the times since World War One. This has been ascribed to them. And so educate yourself and know how all that transpired, so when you talk to people, even your neighbors, you can make sure you're giving them good and useful information and understanding about what's going on in Israel today. So God bless. Thank you for being with us, and keep in touch, because we're going to continue these times of interviews. And thank you again, Mickey, for being with us, and bless your family. And we will hopefully talk to you again very
Thank
soon.
you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.